Welcome to this instructional video where we're going to take a look how to use GeoSuite with Trimble Drawing and also how to use GeoSuite with Trimble Drawing connected to Quadri with the Novapoint extension. First, you want to make sure in Config Switcher that you have selected the correct CAD version, which is Trimble Drawing. And if you're using Quadri with Novapoint, you need to have selected the correct Novapoint version. So first make sure that this is correct. Then you need to open, if you're using Quadri with the Novapoint extension, you need to open up your project and then you press Start CAD. Then Trimble Drawing is opened. So if you're not using Quadri, you can ignore this this start or these instructions. You can just use GeoSuite directly connected to Trimble Drawing. But I'm going to use some Novapoint functions inside of Trimble Drawing, and therefore I need to start Trimble Drawing through Quadri with the Novapoint extension. So now I have established the connection between Trimble Drawing and Quadri. The next part is to establish the connection between Trimble Drawing and GeoSuite. So I got my GeoSuite project here. I'm going to generate a plan drawing. It says here that I already started Trimble Drawing. Should I use this session? I just select yes. Okay. So here we go, a simple plan drawing. First, I'm going to display the different functionalities you have using GeoSuite with Trimble Drawing without using anything connected to Quadri. So if you're used to using AutoCAD together with GeoSuite, you might recognize these panels, GeoSuite Plan and GeoSuite Section. Here you have the basic functionality, the same as in AutoCAD. You can generate a section, update plane, create selection sets, generate VAG linear alignments, create new investigation points, which means create new boreholes. You can find boreholes and so forth. You have the basic GeoSuite plan functionality. I can, for example, illustrate creating a section here. Draw between these two lines. So now I got this section. And as you can see here, it looks the same as if I would use AutoCAD. I can also, from GeoSuite, generate cross sections or alignments. So I'm going to generate some cross sections. I got a profile already, GeoSuite alignment. I can display it in the plan drawing where it is first. So here under GeoSuite plan, going to use alignment. So here I got alignment. You can see that you can draw GeoSuite alignments in the same way, VAG linear in the same way as in AutoCAD. So now I'm going to create some cross sections. These are a lot of cross section. I will just use the first 100 meters. And then the ID depth of 5 meters. Then I'm going to keep the default settings. So I'm going to generate drawing. Press OK there. So there wasn't a lot of boreholes, but as you can see here, I generated the cross sections in the same way as I would do in AutoCAD. I can also generate profiles, which is long sections. So I'm going to generate a profile using the same alignment. Generate a drawing. So you can see here you have the same basic functionality as if I would use AutoCAD. Here I got a profile. Now, if I go back here, or we can take a look at the section here. So if I go to GeoSuite section, I have the different basic GeoSuite section tools, as you have if you would use it in AutoCAD. I can, for example, get all interpretations, add interpretations, and so forth. So for example, if I get the interpretations, you can see here I get the different interpretations. I can, if I would like, I could add interpretations. So it works in the same way as it would be used in AutoCAD. I can add hatches or patterns for ground surface, bedrock. I can move boreholes if I would like. I can move lab data. I can move protocols. I can mirror protocols. So you have all the basic GeoSuite functionality inside Trimble Drawing. So, as I was saying before, I'm going to show briefly that you can use some Quadri or Novapoint functionalities here in Trimble Drawing with GeoSuite. I have this section, and then under GeoSuite/Novapoint, we have that we can read a terrain model. So if I click on that, now as I have the connection between the Quadri project and Trimble Drawing, I can select between different höjd, as it says here. That's elevation packages. I can choose road models and so forth. So here, for example, I'm using the ground surface that is stored as elevation from surface inside Quadri, höjdmodell. And as you can see here, I got the elevation. I can continue with this. I can add different models. So let's take a look. What do we have here? We also have the road elevation. I'm going to add that as well. So here I got the road. So you can, inside the Quadri project, you can create different höjdpaket, which is elevation from surface. So you can create packages where you have, for example, your road model, perhaps clay surface, bedrock surface, ground surface. You could have water and sewage pipes and so on. If you gather them inside one höjdpaket, you just select it and you load it into the section. This also works for cross sections. So if I go to cross section here, I can, for example, add the ground surface, as you can see here. However, if you would like to read in terrain models from Quadri to a profile or a long section that is based on an alignment, you need to do a bit different. Because here we have, back in the GeoSuite presentation, we have the profiles. Before I generated a profile for GeoSuite alignment test, but this profile or alignment does not exist in my Quadri model. Because if you want to use a long section or profile and use the terrain model from Quadri, then you need to have this exact alignment both in GeoSuite and in the Quadri model. So for example, here I have CL_103. I'm going to use that from start station 0 to 100. I have 5 IDs. I'm going to generate a drawing. So here I have another profile, but I know that this alignment exists both in GeoSuite and in Quadri. Before I used for cross sections and for sections, I use this terrain model function. Now I need to use this that says cross section / long section. So it works actually for both a long section, which is called profile in Sweden, or cross sections. So I click on that, and here I get to select, as previously, either elevation from surface, road model, and so forth. So I'm just going to use the ground or the ground surface, because here I get to pick an activity as well. So that's the big difference with using the one that used the terrain model. Here I need to pick the activity, which is the alignment that is the same as I stored in GeoSuite. So in GeoSuite, I had this CL_103. which I have generated from the Quadri model, because you can input from Quadri, you can generate these alignments and store them in GeoSuite. So that's why I have the same naming, or it is the same alignment. So if I go back here, I select CL_103, and there we go. Now I got the ground here. I can continue and select other elevation from surfaces if I would like, but this is just to display that you have two different functionalities. Either you use this terrain model, which is possible to use for sections or cross sections, or you use this cross section / long section, which is more common used for long sections or cross sections. So it's easy to add terrain models or models from Quadri to GeoSuite with these two functions. So I'm going to close this one. The big difference here is that if you're using AutoCAD Civil 3D, then you're working with 3 dimensions. You cannot work with 3 dimensions inside Trimble Drawing. It's closer to AutoCAD in that way. So in Trimble, in Civil 3D, you could, for example, create bedrock models from interpretations in these boreholes. You could create clay models, and you could use those DVGs. You could use those surfaces and add them inside the different sections and profiles. But the nice part is that you can just create them, or you can create the models inside of Quadri and read them in here. So the limitation is that you cannot read in 3D models from a DVG file, but you can read them in from Quadri.